Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever you are watching me from the world. My name is Seun Akinlotan, and this is the Seun Akinlotan Show. It's nice to have you all here today. And if you're hearing my voice, go ahead and let me know your name and where you're watching from. Today, we're going to be interviewing a young couple, Agbeka N, and they actually met on social media. So we're going to be exploring from, and I'll bring in my guests shortly. So let us have Mr. and Mrs. Agbeka N on the screen. Let us have them. Hello.
Hi. Hello. Good evening.
Good evening. Good evening. Thank you for joining us today. Thank you. Thank you. So we have Praise Lion from Lagos joining us. Welcome, Praise Lion. Go ahead and share this video so that other people can join as well. Thank you, everyone, for joining. So good evening, Mr. and Mrs. Agbeka N. We're going to get started right away. You celebrated your second anniversary recently, and I just wanted to know, how does it feel to be married for 2 years? And that question goes to Mr. Agbeka N.
It still feels like it was yesterday.
It doesn't
feel like it's been 2 years. It feels like everything still looks like it was just yesterday. So it doesn't look 2 years to me at all.
Oh wow, that's great. That's great. So what's the secret for that? Because some people would say 2 years feels like 20 years.
Well, the simple thing is living each day as it comes by and being open to whatever comes up. There will be challenges, there will be obstacles, but we being together and having a bright outlook towards things. So it's been easy for us. That's the truth. Challenges will come. Once we overcome it, we let it roll by and we forge ahead. So it doesn't look like it's been 2 years.
Wow.
That's simply the way it is.
That's great. That's great. So how about you, Mrs. Agbeka N? It's been 2 years. How do you feel?
Well, like I said, it's 2 years that does not feel like 2 years.
You guys are making it so easy.
It's been awesome. It's been awesome being with this amazing man. It's been awesome. That's just it.
So that's how you're going to round that up. All right. So let's dive a little deeper because I need to get out some juice out of you. And this question goes to Mrs. Agbeka N.
Okay.
Do you have any standards as a single person? You know how people have a list of qualities that they want in their man. You can be tall, dark, and handsome, Christian. He likes food. He likes going on vacation. Did you have like any standards? And if yes, what?
Yes. Yes, I had a very long list.
Okay.
I had a very long list of what I wanted in my man.
Okay.
And I wanted a tall man. Yes. I wanted a God-fearing man.
Is it taller than you?
Yes, it is. Yes, very tall.
And you're quite tall as well.
Yeah, but he's taller.
How tall are you?
5 feet.
5'8"?
No, 5'2".
You're 5'2"?
Yes.
I don't think you're 5'2".
Really?
You look like you're taller than I am.
No.
Really?
5'2", actually.
Is that true? Mr.
Yes.
Max, is that true? She's 5'2"?
Yes,
Really?
she's 5'2". Yes.
Oh, 5'2" is really short. Are you talking about 6'2"?
5 feet 2, yeah. 5 feet 2 inches, yeah.
Oh, okay. That's surprising. I thought you were taller.
Not that tall, though.
How tall is your husband?
6'3".
Oh, 6'3". So the gap is really a lot.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you were taller than I am. I am 5'7". 5'2"? Okay. I'm listening.
Yeah, so I wanted a tall man. I wanted a man with beards, broad chest. Yeah, I had a list. I wanted a man who just understands me, who is not the African mentality kind of man.
Okay.
Who would understand where I'm coming from, the kind of would blend with my kind of thinking.
Okay.
Yeah, and not just you have to kneel down every morning to give me food, you have to do this, you have to do this kind of man.
Okay.
I wanted a man that is God-fearing. Yes, I wanted a man that is serving God, not just a church-going man. Because I knew I had a ministry, and if I was going to get married to anyone, it has to be someone who would support my ministry as well, in prayers and in every other thing. Yes. So yeah, I had a long list.
A long list. Okay. We're going to come back to whether your list was fulfilled or not. So let me ask your husband, did you have a list or some criteria that you were looking for in the type of girl or woman that you wanted to get married to?
Yes, I had quite a few.
Okay. And can you let us into that list?
Okay. One, I wanted a beautiful and a dark lady.
Okay.
And secondly, I wanted an intelligent lady.
Okay.
Who fears God. A lady who is understanding, who is humble, and a lady who is bold. The list is endless, but at the top, at the top of the list, I wanted a lady who is.
Hello? Hello? Can you hear me? Hello? I can hear you.
Yes. So to cap it up, I wanted the lady who
Hello? Hello? It looks like we're having technical difficulties. We'll go on a short break and we'll be right back. Thank you. Welcome back. Welcome back. If you're just joining us, this is the SA show. Go ahead and share this video with other people so other people can join as well. With me today is Mr. and Mrs. Aigbeka N, and we're talking about their love story. So let me have them back on the screen. Hello? Can you hear me? It looks like we're still having technical difficulties. Hello? Hello? All right, we lost them again. Okay, that's fine. We'll try to bring them back on, but we're talking about love stories, and when people have lists, people have certain list of qualities that they are looking for in their spouses, and Mrs. Aigbeka N had already shared our own list of qualities. And then my question to you is, if you're a single person, do you also have a list of qualities that you're looking for in the person that you want to get married to? Sometimes those lists, we need to be very, very careful. Of course, we have certain things on the list. Like I did have a list when I wanted to get married. I wanted a man that was God-fearing. I wanted a man that would understand me for who I was, and a man that is not intimidated by the qualities and the talents that I bring to the table. A man that would be a co-laborer, a man that would that I will be able to carry his vision and he will be able to carry mine as well. So that was the type of man that I wanted for myself. And yes, when I met my husband, he didn't meet everything that I had on my list. So that's why I believe in the power of having negotiables and then having non-negotiables. So the non-negotiables would be like things that I cannot compromise on. There are things I cannot compromise on. And then the negotiables are things that, okay, if it doesn't have that quality, yeah, okay, it doesn't really matter. I can still roll along with it. So standards are really good. And the most important thing is that before we meet the person, we should have those standards so that by the time we meet the person, we will know whether the person is meeting what we want or not. So I want to hear from you as well. Do you have like a list of qualities that you're looking for in the person that you want to marry? And the other reason we are interviewing this young couple today is the fact that they met on a non-traditional platform. I know that, okay, maybe social media is common these days, but during my own time, it wasn't a thing. It wasn't really a thing. Yes, there was social media. Social media was beginning to come up. It was beginning to get popular. And I remember that each time I had to even send something as simple as an email, I had to go to a cyber cafe and I had to purchase time. Sometimes I'll buy 30 minutes. And then by the time you buy the 30 minutes, you log in. By the time you log in to check your email, to respond to the emails that you have, the 30 minutes, it's probably over because the servers were extremely slow. And for you to get that message across to the person you're trying to get across to, it can take forever. So, so social media wasn't really a thing for us back then. So hearing young people these days going online and meeting someone on social media and actually going from there to getting married, going from being strangers to becoming sweethearts, that's amazing because social media is not that safe. So I wanted to ask them and interview them and see how they were able to, believe or trust in themselves. And then by the time they got to the stage whereby they wanted to introduce each other to both parents, they also had problems because the bride's mom, at first she resisted it and she wasn't into it at all. She said, no, you can't marry someone from this particular tribe. And, tribalism, ethnicity, racism plays a big role in our society today. And while you hear stories of people in other countries and you're thinking in your head, oh my God, there's so much racism. Have you also thought about that person that originates or is an indigene of another state that is close to you? Have you thought about how that person, you're also being tribalistic? Because at the end of the day, it's easy or easier to point at other people and say, oh, this person is tribalistic, or there's racism in all over the world, but right behind your door, you don't know what is going on. Yes, so yeah, she says, Anurika Kenneth says that it was for the rich then. Oh, yes, social media was for the rich. By the time you can even afford money to buy 30 minutes airtime, not airtime, I don't even know what they used to call it. You go to the cyber cafe, you're trying to log in, and everything is just rolling. So social media, it has its benefits, and it's not easy. We're going to go on a short break. Please stay tuned and we'll be right back.
Hello, everyone. I am Keisha George of Keisha G Ministries. It's no news that the world is going through unrest, where a lot of people are being downcast. So I am inviting you, yes, you who is watching me right now, to a virtual event called There Is a Lifting. Yes, come and be a part of this virtual event and join me and other ministers on December 5th, 12 p.m. Eastern Time. Be sure to follow me on Instagram, Keisha G Ministries, for more information. Thank you. God bless.
Welcome back from that short break. I was actually choking on something, so so I had to cough a little bit. Yes. Anyway, Titi Izwagi says social media was for a selected few then. Sounds strange now. That's true. That's true. A lot of people could not afford social media. I remember the first phone that I got that had like a techie phone. I think that was back in maybe 2008 or something like that. But yeah, we've made giant strides since then. So I'm going to bring in our guest right now. We lost them previously. We're back. So we're going to have Mr. and Mrs. Agbekaen right now. Welcome back. We lost you for some minutes there.
Thank you. Thank you. Sorry about that.
It's okay. Technology is, unpredictable. So we're going to continue. I was listening to your husband, Mr. Matt. He was telling us about the qualities he usually looks for in a woman. All right, so let's go on from there.
Okay, so like I said, I wanted a lady, a dark lady, beautiful, bold, a lady who is not boxed into an ideology or a frame, a lady who is willing to learn new things, who is willing to explore, who is willing to try new ideas. I believe with that, there is no challenge that we can't overcome together. And I got those beautiful qualities in my wife.
Wow, beautiful. Is your head swelling?
I tell you.
It's just good to have your husband beside you and saying good things about you. Yes, so that's a good one. Now, let's go into the social media aspect of how you met. Before I go there, I have one question. When you had your list and you knew that you were open to having a relationship that would lead to marriage, were you thinking that person could come from social media? Was it something that you were open to prior to you meeting your husband?
Yes.
So
At that time, yeah, I was open to meeting him anywhere because I was already I was already sort of knowledgeable in some essence to know that I could meet him anywhere.
Anywhere, okay. And this question is important because there are some conversations that are going on in some circles. And it's not really related to marriage. It's actually a conversation that was championed by a pastor that I know, and he had said that networking, the art of networking, like as a business owner or maybe even a professional, like if you go to a networking event, it's not, and you get a contract, it's not God's blessing because you put yourself in that environment. But that's not the discussion for today. So let me ask your husband, were you also open to the possibility that your future wife, you might meet her on social media?
Funny enough, it never crossed my mind that I could meet on social media. But before this time, I had met quite a number of people who have been instrumental, who have helped me one way or the other to social media. I have made great friends through social media, so I knew I could meet my wife anywhere. So it was no issue when the connection came up to social media. It wasn't up for anything bone of contention sort of.
All right. So when you finally met, you met on a WhatsApp group. What type of group was it? What type of group was it?
It was a group of well, it was a group for creatives, writers, teachers, educators. So it was a group for different people, different ideology, but just we come together, we rub minds, we share ideas, we help ourselves get better. Okay. And how many people were in this group? Do you have an idea?
I
think we're over 100.
Over 100?
So, over 100, yes. Some were not active, but more than half were active. So it was a buzzing group.
Okay. So how did they connect? How did you link up with each other? Because when you have a group of 100 people, how did one name stand out from the rest? Did you go there hunting for a wife?
Okay. Well, we it was a group where we had various people. So every day we would always find something to discuss about. So we had noticed each other as, okay, this is someone from this group. And from the WhatsApp group, our connection grew to Facebook. So we added each other up on Facebook. So we were seeing each other on the group on Facebook. But there was another member, a mutual member of the group had an event which we both attended. That was where we met in person. And afterwards, went back to our respective places, and then the connection started to grow and
from there. Okay.
Yes.
Oh, okay. So it wasn't like you were scrolling through all the names.
Not at all. Not at all. It doesn't that way. I wasn't out of the group looking for love. Let me put it that way.
Okay,
I wasn't out of the group for love. So just yes, the group was just a means of expression.
Okay.
But someone was already seeing the expression, and it was, hello.
All right, that's good. I was just pulling your legs anyway. So let me ask you, you met on the group and then added each other on Facebook. So you kind of had an idea of, what you both look like. And then when you met, did you have any type of conversation? What went through your mind when you met? And this question goes to your wife.
When I remember our first meeting, it's usually funny because I felt stupid. I felt stupid. we met at an event. Okay. He was the first person to get the venue, while I was the second person. So getting there, and because we had started talking over the phone, chatting and the likes, I felt like, okay, this is this guy I've been chatting with all the while. I tried speaking with him, but he was pulling back.
Why?
I don't know.
Okay. I was to anchor the event, and on getting to the venue of the event, I realized there was nobody in the hall, and we were already running behind time. So I was caught up. I was in a mix sort of, okay, what's happening? I was trying to put my thoughts together on how to the direction which the event will go in. So I wasn't even seeing. My mind was focused on the event.
And
so I was occupied with everything.
Oh, guy, look at my face now. So Sister Fumi, you were like crushing on him already.
But even before we met, yes.
Oh, I love the confession. Okay, great. Okay, that's fine. So when you started talking and you started getting to know each other more, at what point, how did it approach you? I want to know, because sometimes these days when people are telling me they are going into a relationship or they are dating someone, I don't even understand what it means. So describe that process to me. What did you say and what was your response and things like that? I want to know. I'm nosy.
Okay. On this fateful day, I think it was very early in the morning. We had talked about a lot of things, actually. Okay. I remember he talked to me about somebody who was dating at that time, and then I think he just broke up with a lady, and I was just encouraging him. I was telling him about the guys.
Encouragement.
I was telling him about the guys that were asking me out as well. And then we kept discussing like that until that fateful day. A mutual friend just sent me a message on WhatsApp, and a friend from the same group just sent me a message and said, Fumbi, what's up? What would you say if Max asked you to date him or ask you to be his or something like that? I can't remember vividly. And then I remembered I responded with, let him ask first. And then not long, another person, a second person asked me the same thing. And so I felt like, okay, is it that this guy can confront me, and then he had to go to some other people to send them to me? So I rushed his WhatsApp to ask him, dude, Alpha, did you tell this person about me? Did you discuss about me with this person? And then he said no, but they had actually gone to ask him the same question they asked me. Are you considering Fumbi for a relationship or anything like that? And then after that, a third person asked the same question. So I knew, okay, this is getting serious.
Okay. So, and at that point, not approached or made its intention known, right?
Yes.
Okay.
So I went back to him, we started discussing, and then he just came up to say, okay, babe, I think he said, I think, like, I can't remember, like how many times, like, okay, I think I like you, I think this, I think that. And then I said, whenever he's ready, because at that time, he just broke up with someone, and then he felt he needed time to heal from that relationship before getting into another one. So I told him, okay, whenever you are ready, I'm here. And he was ready when he was ready.
Fine. So for me, I guess the question I'm also interested if you would answer is, you know how people say that they are going into a relationship and the relationship simply has no goal or purpose. So did you ask him from like day one, what exactly do you want? Is this leading to marriage, or what was the arrangement? What was the line of discussion?
Yeah, I asked him.
And what was his response?
If it was just for play or whatever. And then he said yes, that he wasn't ready to play. He was actually looking for, he told me categorically that he was not ready for a relationship for a short time. It was going to be a relationship that would end in marriage. And I remember that almost immediately he asked me out, and I told him yes. I ran to my mentor I sent my mentor a message to say, Daddy, Mark said this. And then the first question my mentor asked me was, okay, so when are you guys getting married? And it was not like a day after. So I was like, getting married, how could I just ask him? Somebody asked me out yesterday, and then I'll be asking him today, when are we getting married? So he said no, that he wanted us to put a timeline to everything we are doing. So I should go back to him and ask him when we're getting married. So that same day, I asked him, and then we had a time to wait.
And I think that's key, because a lot of people, you know, they tell you, you hear different stories about, oh, you've been in a relationship for 5, 6, 7 years, and then you don't know when you're going to get married. There's no discussion around that. And then at the end of the day, the guy breaks up with the girl, and it all ends tears and disappointment. So, Mr. Max, what was the trigger for you? What made you pull that trigger to say that, you know what, this is the person that I want to marry, let's start this relationship? Did you pray about it? Did you reach out to a mentor? How did you do about it?
Yes, I prayed about it. I spoke to my mentor about it, and I prayed about it, and I had a confirmation in my spirit. Even before I knew she was the one I would end up with, I already knew the kind of person she was. I knew her ideas, I knew her values, I knew the things she stands for. And I knew, okay, this is the type of person I would love to spend the rest of my life with. So for me, the trigger came when 3 of our mutual friends, when one of them came to ask me, but I never had any sort of discussion with him. But when he came to ask me, it was like, okay, this is the point where I have to make a decision to take a step that would either make or mar the relationship. I knew if I hesitated at that point in time, I didn't ask her out, I might lose her. So when he came to ask me if I was considering her, I knew, okay, I was now trying to see if I had any discussion with anyone about her. There was no one I spoke with except my mentor. So I knew, okay, this is not just coming from the head. This is a pointer from God that, okay, are you looking in this direction? The things you are praying about, that this is a confirmation. So that was what gave me the trigger to shoot the shots.
Yes, you're a sharpshooter, and I think you got a great one. So congratulations.
Thank you.
Yes. So Keisha, just says that a man always knows, and I think she's referring to a man would always know who they want to marry, but the woman might not know if the man truly wants to marry her. Thank you for not taking our sister for granted. All right, so let's go into another phase of the relationship before you got married. When you told your mom about your husband, what was her reaction, and how were you able to convince her?
Okay, so even before he asked me out, even while I was still in the university and all of that, my mom would always ring it in my head, don't bring a man home if he's not Yoruba. And in fact, it became, I was always, in fact, I used to taunt her like and tell her, don't worry, I'll not even marry a Nigerian. I'll go and bring somebody from maybe Somalia or somewhere. And then she would just laugh over it. And interestingly, I didn't have to do a lot of convictions for her to know that. The first time she saw me speaking over the phone, I think it was a video call. Yes, it was a video call. And at this time, I had not even introduced, or I haven't told her about him. So we were on a video call, and she just came behind me and like, Fumbi, Tobi. And meaning Fumbi is the person you are seeing with this big head and all. So I was like, Mommy, what's the video of that? So after that discussion, after that inclusion, I sat her down and then I told her, okay, yes, that's the person I'm dating. And yes, he has a big head. And yes, he's not Yoruba. So my mom was like, he's not Yoruba. So what is he? Said he's a Bini man. He's from Edo State, even though he lived all his life in Ibadan. His mom is Yoruba as well. So he's half Yoruba, half Bini. My mom was like, yeah, whatever it is, whatever. And I didn't have to do a lot of talking to convince her.
Okay.
So for me, I'll just say God had already prepared a mind that I could come with any tribe. So
okay. So
and she accepted.
okay. So during the times that you've not met him and she was telling you that you have to bring a Yoruba man home, what was the reason for that? Just because you are Yoruba, so she wanted a Yoruba man as well.
My mom always said that she didn't want any of us to be far from her.
Okay.
She wanted us. My mom lives in Kwara State, so
Okay.
she's all my sisters. I'm the last of 6 girls. Like
Okay.
all other people, all of my sisters have their spouses in Kwara State, Osun State, very close to her. So she has always said that she has this thing she says in Yoruba that a child that goes very far from the parents when he or she marries has thrown away the family, sort of. So she's of the opinion that will not be seen regularly, and that because the person might not be Yoruba, a person outside my normal tribe, and I've not lived with them, I might not know what they do in their tribe, and all of that may cause a lot of issues in marriage. Well, that was unfair. That was unfair.
Yes. And you know, our parents can sometimes be possessive, and they have a grand plan for us. They already know, like, oh, when you finish from the uni, you're going to work at XYZ. But little do they know the plan that God has for each and every one. I didn't marry a Yoruba and not even live in Nigeria at all. How about
exactly.
So it's not really about the tribe, although I understand the part of wanting to marry someone from your tribe because you tend to understand each other better, culture, and you tend to flow better. But if it's coming from another culture, as long as the person meets certain standards by your own standards and the standards of your parents, I think it's always a good idea, and I'm happy that it worked out in the end. So you recently released a memoir, and you titled it "From Strangers to Sweetheart," and you had also said that you had to go through some challenges before getting married. I was just wondering what those challenges were. Would you like to share the challenges? And I'll ask your husband this question because it's been quiet for a while.
Okay. Yeah, one of the challenges was the distance. She was in Kwara State.
Okay.
I was in Ibadan. So having to relocate to Ibadan, finding an accommodation for her, it was a bit challenging because when she came to Ibadan, she had to look around, get a job, and it was a bit rough because she had to get an accommodation. On getting there, the place wasn't really conducive. She has to just manage it until we were able to marry and then stay together. So that was one of the challenges that we both faced. Because she got a job and not far from where she was staying, but on getting to the accommodation, realized it was we were scammed because there were rats, there were pests in the house that she got. So it wasn't really conducive. It was like living in the midst of rats, when you say giant rats. It was a big challenge. She couldn't go back home and she couldn't come to my place because we were not yet married. So it was a big challenge for us.
Yes, so I find that interesting. Were you living by yourself?
So I was living with a sister of mine. Before marriage, I was with a sister of mine where I had gotten a place. So before marriage, I had moved to the place.
Okay. Well, the reason I was asking was because I thought that was interesting because she left her hometown of Kwara to come to Ibadan, and most single ladies would just say, you know what, my parents are not even here. Maybe I just move in with my boyfriend. So I was just trying to see whether it was a standard of saying, you know what, we're not married, I'm going to stay by myself, or it was just because she couldn't really move in with you. So you need to answer that question, because I don't want to answer the question for you.
Even if he was living all by himself, if he was living all by himself, I wouldn't have moved in with him.
Okay, that's
I could visit, but I wouldn't have moved in with him.
So what would be your excuse?
I'd say, well, to answer my Christian values, yeah, my values. I believe couples who are yet to be married should not live together.
Okay, and that's
until they are married.
Until they are married. Okay. So your husband just told us about one of the obstacles that you had to cross. So tell us about your memoir. What did you put in there? What was the message that you had for the youth? I'm sure that you had a message for people that are still looking for spouses. What advice would you give them, and what is your book all about?
Okay. The memoir was just to let people know that love can be found anywhere. Like I wrote on my Facebook timeline during the release of the memoir that it could even be in a bus park. It could be anywhere. You could meet the person anywhere. It doesn't have to be a church member. It doesn't have to be somebody from your town. It doesn't have to be somebody that you are very familiar with. Like us, we were total strangers. Like, the only thing I noticed about him on the group was the fact that I've had this mentality, I've had this thing in my head that guys don't remember dates. Not my husband. Yeah. This one can remember dates like anything.
Yeah, my dad can remember dates.
So it actually fascinated me. Like, okay, this guy that remembers dates from even before he was born. And then he says things, he says very deep things. We were just discussing on the group, and then you just dropped just one punch that I'm like, okay, now this guy is deep.
It's making sense.
You know? Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So for me, the memoir is just to tell people out there who are looking for love. Like I made a joke out of it. Like, many people are still very much unmarried because they're not paying attention to that WhatsApp group, to that Facebook group, to that message in their DM, because they feel it can't be this. It has to be maybe somebody in their church, or maybe they're waiting on God to bring a picture, you know.
Oh, wow.
So basically, the memoir is just to let people know that love can be found anywhere. Yeah. And you don't have to lose hope because we've had failed relationships. Yes, we've both had a fair share of failed relationships. So you don't have to lose hope. You don't have to think that because one guy somewhere has maltreated you or jilted you, then every other guy is like that.
Like
you don't have to generalize. Yeah. So that's just the summary. That's just what the memoir is about.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, you said really great things, and I absolutely I reckon with your point. A lot of people feel like they have like a preset way of meeting their spouse, and then when it doesn't happen that way, they are not paying attention. They are not paying attention. So during the week, I had asked a question, even on my timeline, just to let people know that you can meet your spouse anywhere. And I met my husband by the roadside. Well, it was a friend that took me there. I didn't leave my house going to look for a man, obviously. In fact, before I met my husband, like few hours before I met my husband, I attended church. And once I left church, I had called my friend and she said, "Oh, come and meet someone, blah, 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 blah." That's how we got in the car. And then my husband was by the roadside. I was by the roadside, and then we got talking. I didn't even know him, even though we lived in the same estate. I've never met him before. I've never seen him before. So people can meet other people anywhere, and it's important that we have an open mind. have an open mind. Of course, you don't want to rush the person, you don't want to rush the relationship, but try to build something and pay attention to those people around you. So I think it's good. Did you write the book together with your husband? Did he?
Yes, we wrote it together.
So what was the message? What was the message that you had? Yes, for people in
the message is the same, that Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, they are all channels of meeting. Just like she said, you can meet people in the bus. So if I meet someone on the bus and I greet him, is equal to me meeting someone on Facebook and saying hi, or meet in the comment section of the post and I say hi. I'm this and so I work in this, I live in Ibadan. And someone comes and say, oh, I live in Ibadan too, I work in so place. They are just means of meeting. But because of some stereotypes that Facebook is evil, Twitter is evil, social media is fake. So people feel when they see when anybody approaches them through any social media channel or platform, they instantly create a wall that this guy is a kidnapper, is a scammer, is this, is that. So people, many people have lost out on great relationship, on great things by just ignoring opportunities. So that's it for me. I believe I can meet anybody in anywhere. It all depends on my mindset, my motive. Yes, my motive. If my mindset or somewhere on a group is sincere, definitely I will attract someone who is sincere. And if I meet someone who is insincere, I will be able to know along the line, oh, this person is sincere. I'll be able to cut the person.
Yes, there will be
that's the message. Yes, that's the message.
You know
how can be found anywhere.
Okay, so back in the days when men wanted to get married, what they usually, especially like, men that don't usually go to church, when they want to get married, they tend to walk into church. They pretend, so to speak, that they are brothers because they want a good woman to get married to. And they walk into church, they pretend like they are brothers, they serve, they are the ushers or whatever. And then they marry the lady and then show their full color. I think the same thing can also go for social media, because people get married, I can decide to go on social media and act like, I'm nice and all that. So I think that's why some people try to be cautious when it comes to meeting people online or even in church or anywhere for that matter. But like you said, the mindset matters, and we should also think of giving people a chance. Let people prove themselves. If that person is evil, you will know over time. That's why you don't rush things. You take your time before you go into all those types of relationships. Now, I want to ask the two of you, and you would answer me one after the other. If there's a single woman or a man that is looking to get married, what are some of the things that they should be looking out for in the spouse that they are trying to get married to? So I'll ask Mr. Max first.
Okay, I think when you're trying to get married, the things to look out for is the values. You should look out for the values of whoever you're getting into a relationship with, because you should determine the base, you determine if the two of you will agree. If your value aligns, if your vision, you should not, like someone was saying a few days ago, go after someone who has vision, who has a plan for his or her life. It doesn't depend on it depends on the number of degrees of masters or certificates, but the person's vision, the person's goal in life. Once the person has that, I think those are the yardsticks, the major yardsticks. Is the person a believer? Does the person believe God? Once these things are in place, others can wait. Not, I want someone with a figure eight. The figure eight might go, it might stay. Or I want someone who is fair in complexion. I want someone who is tall. And if anything happens and the person has an accident and the two legs get cut off, so anything can. So the things that will form the basis, yes, the basis is the values. Do our values align? Do we reason along the same line? If these things are met, the others can build up and can be added along.
It's interesting. You said something that reminded me of a question that I want to ask you. I know these days that couples want to get married, they are deviating from the normal marriage vows that we used to know back in the days, like for better, for worse. Some people are now saying for better, for best. So did you, when you wanted to get married, did you read out the traditional marriage vows, or did you come up
Yes, it was traditional vows. For me, I think the vows matter, but the words in
Okay.
it's not the words you speak on that particular day that matters.
Hmm.
It is your determination, it is your decision. Like I said, love, I was telling my wife earlier, I said love is not a feeling, it's a decision.
Oh
So it's a
yeah.
decision that matters. So once you have decided to love this person, the lines of the vows does not, it is not the words in the vows that matter, but your decision to stay with that person that matters. So say for better, for worse, say for good, for better, for best, for richer, for wealthier, it's those ones are just, they are lines. It can be said in various ways, but it's the decision to stay with that person that matters.
Yes, yes. There are lines, and I think you've hit the key point because values are very important. Some people don't believe in suffering. If they start out with you and someone is asking which one is for better, for best. Some people are, if they start out with you and you are wealthy, and maybe something happens, you lose contracts, you lose your business, whatever, and things take the downward spiral. Of course, we don't pray for bad. We all always pray for better achievements, greater heights. But some people, once they see maybe they can manage 1, 2, 3, 4 years, maybe by the fifth year, you are not picking up, they pack their things and come back. You know the art of the person. And I agree with you. Love is absolutely a decision. It is not a feeling. So I'm going to ask you, Tumbi, what
Yes,
are
ma'am.
the qualities that people should look out for in a spouse?
Okay. Well, he has probably said what I would have said.
Okay.
And I'll say it in another way.
Okay.
I got a revelation from the scriptures some few months to when I was going to meet him, and I think that actually changed my orientation about a lot of things.
Okay.
And the Bible says that we should not be unequally yoked. And then I was asking myself, being unequally yoked is not just a Christian and a non-Christian,
Okay.
a Muslim and a non-Muslim. Being unequally yoked would mean that somebody not just of different faiths, but somebody of different mindsets. You can't be in a relationship with, okay, for example, if one of my core values is financial intelligence,
Okay.
and then my husband, if I was a spendthrift, and then my husband is yeah, if my husband was prudent, yeah, if my husband is prudent and I'm a spendthrift, then we can't work. Because if I make money, I will believe that when I make money, I should spend it. He believes that when he makes money, he should save or invest. Obviously, when we eventually get married, we would have issues.
Okay.
So for me, being unequally yoked will mean that you are in a relationship or in a marriage with somebody that your values do not align. So if you have to go by that scriptures, yes, we should not be unequally yoked. Either you are a Christian or a Muslim or a traditional believer or whatever. What matters most is for the two of you to have alignment of purpose, alignment of values. Okay, one is not going to Kaduna and the other is facing Kogi. You know, the two of you have the same, might not be the same vision, but you can blend both into, for example, thankfully, even before we got married, we both knew that he has a heart for teenagers. I have a ministry for teenagers, so we could blend both together. When I want to host events for teenagers, I bring him up into it. When he wants to do something, when he has an idea, he tells me about it, and then we work together. But for example, if okay, a couple who the wife has a heart for charity, and the husband thinks that no, my money should not go out to anywhere. It's as simple as food matters. It's as simple as food matters, anything. Once you write out your values, I tell people, unmarried people in my circle, I tell them that first thing you should do is write out your own values. When you're looking out for somebody you should marry, write out your own values. Make sure they are not values you are looking up for, you want. They're not values you want. They're already values that you are showing. They're already values that are inside of you. They're already things that you are doing. You don't say that, okay, one of your values is integrity, and when you say good morning, we have to go and check again to go and see if it's not night, and then you want the same integrity in the person you want to marry. Obviously, if you keep saying integrity is your value, and you obviously get somebody whose core value to is integrity, but on the other hand, you're not doing what you say. When you get married, it will become an issue.
Yes.
I tell people that once you write out your values spiritually, what do you believe? What's your mindset about spiritual things? What's your mindset about money? What's your mindset about food, fun, sex? All of these things matter. So once you write that out, and then somebody is coming to ask, I tell people you may not say yes to a guy immediately.
Okay.
If you don't know the guy that much, tell them I like you, but not in its entirety. Yeah, let's take some time to know each other, and then in knowing each other, what you are trying to know about the person is, does his value align with mine?
Absolutely.
Can I do the same? Can it fit into my dream? Not just somebody that will ask you out today and then tomorrow you tell him I have to go on mission field or something, and then he'd be like, no, we didn't discuss this before we got into this. So all of these things matter.
They matter.
Once you're looking out for somebody to marry, get your values right. Then make sure the person asking you out to ask almost, if not all, at least if you have 10 things on your value list, at least 7 of those 10 things with ease should align.
Powerful. Absolutely. You've hit some key points. I think a lot of people don't actually have vision to start with.
Yeah.
You telling them to write it down, it's a very good idea. And I hope that people will truly adhere to all these nuggets that you've shared today. I am so thankful. I wish we could go on and on, but we've come to the end. But before we leave, I would ask you, what else would you like to say? The question goes to your husband first, and then you would answer that, and we call it a day. Thank you.
I believe that being an agent of change starts from the home front. It starts with you and your partner. And when you're able to influence yourselves, I mean, husband and wife, when you're able to influence yourselves in a positive manner, it will translate to your children. And the children will in turn translate to the society. If you take a look at society, the product that we see in society is a reflection of the homes from where they are coming. And it all comes down to making the right choice of a partner. You can meet through any means. We've seen marriages that they met in church and ended in disarray. We've seen marriages that they met in school, and we've seen marriages that they met on LinkedIn, and they are doing fine over the years. So I think beyond where you meet, your planning, your alignment, your growing up, your journey should align. It shouldn't be that, oh, let me just manage it. Let me just keep managing it. Ensure your visions align. So when your visions align, when you marry, there will be argument, there will be disagreements, but you'll be able to resolve it. But when the home front is already broken, then society would receive the brokenness coming from the home, and It's a result of, you can see the result on the street.
Yeah, and the cycle keeps going on and on
It's keep going on and on. Yes, it's going on and
Thank
on.
you for sharing that. You actually have a question, so I'm going to take that question. What if your values seem to align from the beginning and suddenly difference in value occurs? So that means that maybe before you got married, you thought that your values aligned. You know, people change. People change over the years. You get into marriage, you become more matured, you meet different types of friends, and suddenly you were going north, but because of the things that happen around you, maybe one of the couple just decided to turn east. So what will they do at that point? What would you suggest? I'll let your husband answer the question because we are actually at the end and we need to close out. But please answer that question so that we can call it a day.
It all boils down to communication. The two of you need to sit down and ask questions. Okay. Why are you changing? This was what you said at the start. This is where you are. What has happened? What has changed? So we can't go wrong with communication. Yeah. When we express ourselves, when you're able to, okay, this is what has changed. If the wife is not comfortable with it, the husband or either of the partner should be able to find a middle ground and agree, okay, if what if I change it to this way, would that go with you? Or the wife herself asks, okay, now that I know what has happened, why you have deviated from where you are to here now, okay, I think I'm okay with it. Most times the issues about proposed alignment is when there's a gap in communication. The wife would feel she has been cheated. The man might have been sincere in what he is doing or saying. He might have evolved over time. But when the wife is not part of that journey, she feels left out. She feels cheated. But when you keep communicating constantly, when you learn new things, let your wife learn it. When you're exposed to new information, let your wife know it. So that when you are evolving into where you are, she's already part of that journey. She knows where you're coming from. And there will be issues.
That is so key, because once you get married, and if it's just one person that is growing or learning, the other one might be left behind. So you're saying that if it's the wife that is learning and growing, she should take her husband along.
Yes.
That is learning and growing, he should take his wife along. That is powerful, because a lot of people these days is usually one person in the marriage that is passionate and trying to grow themselves. But if they grow together, they will stay together. I love that. Thank you so much for coming to the International Show. I appreciate you, and thank you for sharing your story. I wish you many more years of togetherness, love, unity, harmony, loyalty from my mother, to your children's children, and I wish you all the best. Thank you, everyone. Until next time, I would say be exceptional, be intentional, and be on point. Thank you. Bye.
Thanks for having us. Bye.
Thank you.